Your memory feels like a solid foundation, but it is actually one of the most vulnerable parts of your identity. Right now, someone in your daily life could be successfully rewriting your reality. We often imagine mind control as a grand, cinematic event, but the reality is much quieter. It is an invisible thread connected to your brain, pulled by a boss, by a partner, or a friend who understands exactly which nerves to twitch. These mechanics are part of a specific psychological playbook designed to bypass your logic and target your instincts. At the end of this process lies a trap so destructive it can turn a confident person into someone else's pawn. Acknowledging that your mind can be compromised is the first step toward reclaiming it. Once you see the architecture of the deception, you can begin to trust your own sanity again. The capture begins with a process called destabilization. The goal is to make you doubt your own perception of the present through a series of calculated denials known as micro-gaslighting. This strategy takes its name from a 19th century play where a man secretly dimmed the gaslights in his home, then convinced his wife she was losing her mind for noticing the change. Modern manipulators use the same weapon. When confronted with their own actions, they don't argue. They simply state, "I never said that," or "You're overthinking things again." By calmly denying your reality, they wage a calculated attack on your confidence until you accept their version of the truth over your own eyes. Once you doubt the present, the manipulator moves to replace your history. They exploit the brain's natural preference for a compelling story over a dry, factual record. By repeating a lie with intense emotion and vivid detail, they can eventually force your brain to process it as a genuine memory. They retell the past with chilling conviction, consistently framing themselves as the hero and you as the villain. This vulnerability isn't just personal, it scales. This image captures how political leaders use emotional repetition to convince populations of events that never occurred, turning collective memory into mass control. By eroding your trust in both what you see today and what you remember from yesterday, the manipulator effectively strips you of any objective baseline. This control often starts long before a conflict occurs through a subconscious hack known as priming. Consider a professional gambler who famously scammed a billionaire by asking him to pick a random player on a sports field and guess their jersey number. The billionaire chose the number 55, feeling entirely confident that the choice was a product of his own free will. But his choice was engineered. For days, the gambler had flooded the billionaire's environment, his hotel bills, the surrounding billboards, even his room number, with the number 55. The billionaire didn't feel coerced. He felt inspired. That is the danger of priming. It doesn't override your will. It quietly stacks the environment until you convince yourself you chose the path someone else laid out for you. If you manage to catch a manipulator in a lie, they immediately deploy a defensive trap called reframing. If you confront a partner for texting someone they shouldn't, they will flip the script. They won't defend their actions. They will attack yours, asking why you were checking their phone and accusing you of violating their privacy. They twist their flaws into acts of protection or intense love, forcing you to apologize for the suspicion that led you to the truth. The final stage is the anchor drop, a tactic that exploits the brain's inability to judge value without a relative comparison. Imagine a boss who wants you to work the weekend. They don't start by asking for Saturday. They demand 3 extra hours of work daily. Your brain rejects this extreme. When they relent and ask for 4 hours on Saturday, it feels like relief. The massive anchor makes their real goal look like a generous compromise. You walk away believing you won the negotiation, when in reality, you eagerly agreed to the very exploitation they intended from the start. Understanding these 5 tactics changes your relationship with your own thoughts. It allows you to see the difference between a genuine choice and a scripted response. You aren't losing your mind, and your memory isn't failing. You are simply seeing the strings that have always been there, and once they are visible, they can no longer be used to pull you. To keep sharpening your awareness and stay ahead of these tactics, hit the subscribe button and support the channel with a like. Have you ever looked back at a decision and realized the environment was stacked against you? Tell us about it in the comments. Stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next one.